Hello and welcome. Here are some more philosophical ideas you probably haven't thought about. Let's begin. Number 1. Glass on a table. Imagine, just for a second, that we two were in a room and there was an empty table and I gave you a glass, a normal glass which you can drink water out of, or well, basically anything you can drink out of it. A normal glass, and I told you, put this glass on the table anywhere, in whichever way you wish. You can put it upside down, sideways, in any way you wish. In any corner in the center, you can move it 2 millimeters to the left, 2 millimeters up, 2 millimeters to the right. You can put it however you wish. And so you go, you try to find the perfect place for the glass on this table. Maybe there. No, maybe 2 centimeters to the right. And so you go and you use time and you find, okay, now this is the perfect way for the glass to be. The glass is now in the perfect position, in the perfect, way, whether it be upside down or whatever. And so I come and boom, slap the glass straight into the wall and it breaks. Now that wasn't really nice of me, I understand, but what does this depict? Were your actions meaningful? Like, did it really matter where you put the glass if in the end I always were just gonna come and slap it into the wall? Did it really matter? Were any of the actions meaningful when you were trying to find the perfect place for the glass? I mean, some would say no. It's pretty meaningless and pointless that, well, no matter where you put the glass and no matter how long or short the amount of time that you use to look for the right place, I would always just come and slap it into the wall. It wouldn't even matter if you threw the old glass into the wall yourself. Like, many people would consider it very pointless for you to waste time and, well, do anything with the glass. Because in the end, the glass is always going to end up broken against the wall. And so, many of you might be thinking, what does this depict? Well, doesn't this in a way depict life? We are the glasses on a table, and the table is the world. And we're simply looking for the perfect place for ourselves. Oh yes, maybe if I go in that direction. Maybe if I go in this direction, I get that job and this hobby and this and that, and maybe I get these things and it's perfect. But if in the end we're always just gonna break, does it really matter? Isn't it a bit pointless? I mean, maybe this is not very nice to say, but that's a way to look at the world. This is a very nihilistic way to look at the world, but isn't it kind of true? Don't we, in a sense, need something to be eternal for there to be any meaning? We need there to be a possibility that, maybe the glass doesn't break. Maybe it will stay there. Maybe it will not shatter like everything. And well, luckily we might have hope in Jesus Christ. Let's go. Anyway, let's move on to the next point. Number 2. Problem with modernity. So, while we're on the topic of finite and pointless and all of this and oh no, life's gonna end, let's not get too carried over with that. But in similar spirit, let's look at some problem that modernity has that you might have not even think about. Now think about this. If you remember back to the Middle Ages, what do you think about when I say the word Middle Ages? Or medieval or something like that. What are you thinking? Maybe cool castles that we can go look at. Good point. Maybe some cathedral, big building, very decorated and nice. Wow, amazing. Maybe something like that. Have you ever thought about that in 1152 there was a 2% GDP increase in Prussia? I don't even remember if Prussia existed then, but you know, like, the point is, you don't care. Nobody looks at things like GDP. Oh, the economy had a bit of an upturn there. You know, like, nobody cares about these things. What we look at is, in a sense, bigger, grander things that, you know, stand out in history, like pyramids of Egypt, and, you know, all kinds of big buildings and these landmarks and markers of these old societies that just give us a lot of meaning. And so when we think about modernity and the problem, it's like, well, what are we gonna leave behind? Like, are we building cool castles that people will look at 1,000 years in the future and say, wow, that was really cool, you know, they must have been really good architects? Are we gonna build some cool decorated buildings like cathedrals and so on that people look at, wow, look at the artistic skillfulness and creativity of these people 1,000 years ago? I mean, no, we're building the same boring glass building. I mean, like, go look at a view of London, view of Paris, view of Berlin, view of New York, and view of basically any major city on planet Earth, and it's almost identical. It's almost identical. It's like, oh, tall skyscraper that's made of glass and metal. Oh, that's so new and interesting. Damn, we will be so special and remembered for ages. Like, no. The only thing that might separate London from Paris is the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, that's almost 200 years old as well. So, like, that's not very modern in a way. And so, it's like, where are these mega projects? Where are these landmarks? Why don't we build stuff with marble, bricks, stone, these endless materials that they last forever? Why don't we do these things that would just be remembered? I mean, surely at some point we have to say that, well, you know, yeah, it might cost a bit of money, yeah, it might affect GDP, yeah, it might this, that, but isn't it kind of worthy? I mean, think about, you know, once again, if we think about Middle Ages, do you really care? Was there like a, well, you know, the GDP increased 2% that year or something, and it's like, well, okay, cool, but nobody really cares. Like, think about it. If you were a medieval peasant looking at the modern world and you were thinking, okay, so we can have a trade-off, this big castle that everyone looks at and aspires and, you know, wow, oh, so amazing. You know, you can trade that for having a slight increase in quality of life that you might not even notice. Which one are you taking? Like, let's say you're looking at the modern world, you're looking at people going around and nothing is left of your own town except this big castle, and you're like, wow, people are remembering us because of that. I mean, that's pretty good. But hey, you know, you can take a trade-off, you know, God or something comes and gives you like, okay, well, you can go back and increase your life quality this much. But we'll have to get rid of that castle that everyone remembers. Like, are you gonna really take that? Yeah, dude, that sounds so great. Like, probably not. The idea of being remembered, the idea of knowing that, hey, we made a difference, hey, we have this thing, will it be some sort of art or whatever, that people will look at in 1,000 years, that is more valuable than money. That is more valuable than, you know, something minuscule. Now, of course, if the option is starve to death, then probably most people won't choose starving to death and building a castle, but, you know, maybe we should do something. And maybe, you know, spending a bit of extra money isn't so bad if it's to create something great that will be remembered. Number 3, the right side of history can never lose. So, like we were talking about history and stuff, back to history, and well, think about it like this. If you were to win a war, are you gonna write in history, we were the wrong side? Well, of course not. Like, you're always gonna write, we were the heroes who saved the world. And it's like, yeah, makes sense. So, no matter who wins, you look at Napoleonic wars, like, you look at basically any war in history, and you look and you really think, if it would have gone the other way, like, let's say, the First World War, the Great War, Germany would somehow win and the Central Powers, and then it's like, oh no. But it's like, well, would the world really be that different? I mean, sure, we would maybe have a bit of differences, like in borders, and maybe would have impacted a lot of things further on and stuff, but like, in general, like, would the world be that different? And like, then we can go and think like, would we really see the Germans as like evil now? Like, probably not. I mean, there's debate about if Germany even caused the First World War, but like, because kind of Austria-Hungary and that. But anyway, like, it's like, if you're gonna win a war, if you're gonna like win, then why would you ever write yourself as the bad guy in history? Because the winners write history, right? Everyone knows that. And so it's like, well, no matter who wins, in the future people are gonna look, yes, luckily these guys won because they were on the right side. But maybe the only reason we ever think that is because they wrote it like that. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe the only reason we look at history and we look at some of these like, oh, thank God the right side of victory won. And it's like, would you be saying the same thing if the other side won? You're just saying something differently, like, X, instead of X, it's Y, but in the end you would say the same thing. Like, if you really think about it, maybe that's true. Maybe most people would always just say the same thing, no matter who won. Thank God the right side of victory wins once again. Well, they can't really lose now, can they? Because no matter who wins, they're just gonna claim to be the right side. But anyway, that's some ideas to think about. That's some things to make you blow your mind or something. But anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.